Hello, and thanks for watching. In this presentation, I will walk you through the final recommendation for Hartley McMaster Limited, a consultancy known for operational research, mathematical modeling, and software delivery. I will start with a crisp recap of our current state, where the work is strong and where bottlenecks are showing up. Then, I will lay out the future design, unified analytics platform, automated data pipelines, a visual analytics layer, a knowledge sharing hub, and a governance wrapper. I will keep every climb grounded in evidence that includes my current state analysis plus the survey you completed. No speculation and no filler. To frame the why now, I will reference the independent research that shows a unified data platform's consistency, shorten time to value, and improve a decision making speed. You also see a phased plan that is realistic for Hartley Mac size and culture. Finally, I will reflect using Gibbs' reflective cycle, what worked, what did not, what I felt, and how that will change my approach in the future projects. My goal is that by the end, you can say the recommendations are clear and feasible and convincingly evidence. Welcome and thanks for joining. I will take you through a clear practical journey where Hartley McMasters is today. Why cite why certain bottlenecks are holding us back and what a realistic future state looks like for a consultancy that values a precious and a speed. I will keep each section tight and focused on the decisions that matter. We will start with a one page recap of the current state so everyone has the same picture. Then I will explain of five recommendations that work together as a system. A unified analytics platform to reduce a friction, automated pipelines to remove a manual drudgery, a visual analytics layer to get insights in front of our clients faster, a knowledge hub to stop a reinvention, and a governance wrap to keep us safe and audit ready. Throughout the deck, you will see a figures created from our internal survey response. These make sure the recommendations are connected to the real experience inside a Hartley McMasters. I have also prepared a phased plan so we can deliver a quick wins without overwhelming the team. We will close with a reflection using a Gibbs cycle where I will share what worked, I had changed, and what I will take into the next engagement. The intent is that by the end, you will feel the plan is actionable, measurable, and right side for Hartley McMasters. Here is the short, honest picture. Hartley McMaster's strengths are in the thinking, the modeling, the problem framing, and the translating result for decision makers. The bottlenecks sit in the plumbing. Around that thinking, how data gets in, how it's processed, and how knowledge is shared. We are currently splitting work across the several tools, which leads to a version conflicts and duplicated efforts. Data often arrives by email or a secure transfer and then gets cleaned by hand, which is slow and hard to audit. Useful snippets and prior solutions live in the personal drives or email trails. So the next person who faced a similar problem starts from the scratch. At the same time, clients want the same quality of analysis but faster and with confidence that privacy and retentions are handled correctly. Below, you will see the survey chart that surface the most common pain points a teammates experience. This is the most important because the graph keeps us honest. The plan is built around what the team actually feels, not just what looks good on paper. These themes directly shape the recommendations you will see next. The aim is not to report off everything, it's to streamline the path from a raw data to a usable insight and to make the best practices we already have easier to repeat. This project relies on a single, consistent instrument on online survey. The reason is practical consultants are busy and we needed something quick to complete, easy to distribute, and simple to analysis. Everyone saw a consent screen up front and we kept a question standard so results are comparable. Every time was optional, including the two short free text prompts, which gave a people a way to add a nuance without pressure. On the governance side, we configured the survey for anonymity. The response were saved automatically into the restriction OneDrive folder, protected with a multi-factor authentication. Only I and my supervisors can access the folder, and it has a deletion schedule that matches the participant informations. I'm keeping a slide 3 chat free to focus on a process clarity. The visual comes right after this one slide that summarizes the confidence in infrastructure versus training and shows this which tools people actually use, followed by a heat map for a perceived risks. Structuring it is this way avoids a clutter and makes each message and land cleanly. How we collected the data on this slide and what it says on next ones. From the data, infrastructure's confidence sits in the middle. Some believe the systems will scale, others are less sure, but it's not as slow as a training accuracy. Training accuracy consistently trends are lower, showing a clear skill gap. On tool usage, Excel is dominant and surprising in consistency, but SQL has a strong pretension too. Python and R trial behind and business intelligence tools are scattered across the different platforms suggesting we are missing the benefits of a standardization. This is where a unified platform can really help, reducing a context switch and creating a single upskill focus. Our survey paints a positive picture on the foundational hygiene. A clear majority, about the 81%, are satisfied with the data accessibility and quality, with only a small tile reporting dissatisfaction. Processes are also in decent shape. Roughly three quarters agree they are documented and repeatable. Where a project slowdowns is less about tools and more about the inputs and time. About the third side, tight deadlines, and the another third side, incomplete client data. A limited compute shows up, but at a lower rate. The implication is, well, uh, the implication is we will get the biggest win by tightening a data readiness upstream and reducing a manual rework downstream, while preserving what already works in documentation by centralizing it and making it easy to read. We also check the permission space for a change. The data suggests a strong backing from a leadership. About 70% feel investment ready and a healthy baseline of governance trust at around 65%. That's important because we can introduce a platform unification without triggering an undue compliance anxiety. Software limitations exist but are not a systemic blocker. The dial that doesn't feel a pain can be addressed through a platform choices. Finally, the forward looking sentiment is clear. The center of gravity is AI ML accelerators and predictive automation, which aligns with our recommendations on a unified data platforms and automated pipeline. The first move is a platform unification. Right now, efforts leaks to a tool switching and one of pipelines. UDAP brings injection, transformation, modeling, and visualization together with the governance as a first class concern that reduce the manual hopes and makes a performance easier to turn end to end. And from a business lens, unified platforms are associated with a faster decisions and material economic benefits when adapted with discipline. Our survey signals the same. Staff want a predictive automation and better pipelines, and the most expert, modest near term turnaround gains, which we can improve as standardization takes hold. The second move is to industrialize the path from a raw inputs to a model ready data. Automated pipelines with the validation stops shrink the error budget and protect the team's time. This directly addresses the top two impediments: deadlines and incomplete data, by catching issues early and smoothing a downstream work. In a parallel, we will stand up a knowledge hub. The documentation exists, but by treating it as an curated version asset, we speed onboarding and create a repeatable excellence. We will keep governance strict, role based access, audit trials, and privacy controls, uh, leverage, leveraging the controls already familiarly from Microsoft's ecosystem. Our third recommendation is people focused. Confidence in training is uneven, and the preference are unambiguous. Short internal workshops and external certification tops the list, with self-paced content and mentoring rounding it out. We will operationalize that through a quarterly micro upskill sprints that map directly to the platform task we need. We will pair that with a funded certification pathway and a practice loop. Peer reviews on a real deliverables, so new skills become a default behavior. The payoff is straightforward. Unified platforms only translate to faster, clear, clear decisions when everyone uses them the same way. For the first 90 days, we focus on a clean foundation. We will stand up the unified data platform landing zone with the environments, role based access, and audit so governance is in place from day one. In parallel, we will run a small pilot end to end in just a validate a module and a simple dashboard so the team can see the full path working in one governed flow. Actual data, the pilot, like, like the pilot gives us a template for the pipelines test and deployment that we can reuse. Moving into the months 4 to 6, we scale the basics. We will automate a 3 to 5 priority pipelines with the data contracts, validation, and monitoring, and publish a semantic layer so shared metrics are consistent across the dashboards. Alongside that, we will run two micro upskill sprint, short task focused workshops tied to a new workflow. So people practice exactly what they will use on a client projects. From month 7 to 12, we turn to predictive automation for the top survey backed use cases and harden operations, cost controls, performance tuning, and incident playbooks so the running system is reliable at a scale. To reduce risk, we will make a change invisible early. Nominate a few champions in each team and demo the pilot wins. A cycle time, a fewer sendbacks, and clear metrics. On data quality, we shift checks to the left with the contracts and validation at the injections, which directly address the service incompletion data, client data, and a deadline pressure. On and on add on a privacy, we rely on built-in controls or back encryption and audit trials, so governance stays first class across the pipeline. Across the whole phase, we will track three signals to improve our progress: request to insight a cycle time, rework a rate from a data issues, and adaptation of the semantic layer and knowledge hub. If those moves in the right direction, we will scale. If not, we will adjust the plan quickly. Using Gibbs cycle, I started by laying out the reality, parallel to tool chains, manual injection, and knowledge scattered across folders. The survey tempered by assumptions. It shows strong governance and decent data quality, but also revealed that inputs and time or were projects over. My initial instinct was to push the tooling harder. That data nudged me to fix a data contracts, validation, and reuse first. The key takeaway is that platform pay off when pipelines are dependable and patterns are easy to reuse. My action plan is to add data readiness checks into scoping, curate patterns in a hub, and pay a training with an a rollout. That's how we make an adaptation stick. Bringing it home, we are moving from a patchwork of tools to one governed flow. The platform gives us a speed and consistency. Automated pipelines reduce our fire drills. The knowledge hub returns a good documentation into a reusable assets, and the skills programs makes a new way of a working sick. In the next 90 days, we will set up a landing zone and our back approve the shape with a one end to end. The pilot seat the hub and run our first workshop. We will track a cycle time, rework, and adaptation to keep us honest. I have kept the citation tight and only used your approved source. The platform unification and adaptation claims are supported by the Acceleradata, Rudostark, and Felton. The expected efficiency benefit framing a leans on a Forrester TEI study. Survey privacy, posture, and governance reference comes from a Microsoft Forms, and for a reflective methods and survey designs a discipline. Dovetail's guide underpins the approach. Thank you.